The path you're on leads between huge tumbled boulders, and you suddenly find yourself in a clearing at the edge of the pool. The sun is warm here, and the ground is covered by thick pine needles, creating a soft carpet. You notice that many Firbolgs have followed you, and are now quietly finding places to sit along the tops of the boulders all around you, creating something like a natural amphitheater. In the clearing before you, 3 male Firbolgs are sitting in a semicircle, seeming to await your approach. All 3 are very big, Firbolg standards. Though they sit cross-legged, they are all at eye level, even with Ryan. Eye level with Ryan. Had they been standing, you would guess them to be between 9 and 10 feet tall. Judging from the striations or the tattoos and markings on their skin, you would guess them to be related. You can tell they look somewhat similar. You guys can go ahead and move in to the clearing next to the waterfall. That's just ahead, just a little bit. I'm gonna go
over and check out these guys' tattoos.
They are covered in tattoos. Woad is the classic term for what they wear.
Nice. I'm gonna fling my cape back a little so I can see some of my tattoos.
Nice. And yeah, Tenefka does. She's just one example of all the Firbolg type. Yeah, there are some that look kind of like her. I'm gonna go through them. Ryan, make me a persuasion or intimidate, your choice. To flash the tats.
Intimidate would be charisma?
That's right.
Grrr. Arr.
Nice. You get a lot of the ones.
And my piercings too.
All of these on the cliff close to you that can see you clearly. You see them lean next to each other and whisper in each other's ears, and they're smiling and nodding. You got approving looks. You can't hear what they're saying, but it seems to be a tone of approval. They're pointing and smiling.
Of course, I'm a great artist.
Flash up some pictures. This guy's a Firbolg. You've seen Tenefka. She's there are some that look similar to her. Tough girl. You got this fella. They are all between 8 and 9 feet tall. The males are fully bearded. They seem to take as much pride in their beard as a dwarf would. Arnold might find some approval here. Another female. The females braid their hair in a lot of varying fashions. They seem to be blonde and red-haired, primarily. Got this woman here. Weapons seem savage but extremely effective. Covered in spikes. Furs. And then you've got the 3 in the middle. This guy, the youngest. This guy, somewhat middle-aged. And this guy, elderly. Let me give you a more involved description. The one on your left, the one called Myrick, he introduces himself as you come in. It says, "Greetings, my name is Myrick." And here's the description. The one on your left appears to be just barely coming of age. Though he has a full beard, he's probably only 20 summers. He wears a thick leather headband which has colored thread stitching and a mural across it. It depicts a Firbolg about to fire a bow at a leaping stag. He leans forward, eager to hear what you have to say. The one in the middle introduces himself as Vyric. He wears a leather headband set with white gems which catch the sunlight. He appears older than the first, probably middle-aged. He sits calmly, staring at a point beyond your shoulder, a thoughtful face. The one on your right is the eldest by far. His skin is wrinkled like the stone beneath the falls, and his beard is long and white. He also wears a thick leather band, but it covers his eyes as a blindfold. It has been stitched with layers of colored thread, creating a mural of Firbolg worshipping a bright yellow sun. Without seeing his eyes, you can't get a read on his stone-skinned expression. All of them partake of the peace pipe.
I'd like to hand them the heart.
Go ahead and move
As
into the
she
center then.
approaches, I'll say, "Greeting, honored elders. I am Havlarn. These are my companions. We bring you gifts."
And I ask Azoth to hand the skins and Tunti's thingies over.
We mainly bring news, though.
Indeed.
Tanefka approaches from the rear. She doesn't bow, but she sinks down onto her knees and takes kind of a cross-legged seated position, and she says, "These warriors helped me in a place or beast. They are worthy, but they bring news of the outside world. As oft do you land and present the pelts?"
Yes.
Alright. They take the pelts and heart. Let's see, let me put them out there.
Della, the protector of Gloaming Glade, has been captured by Fomorians. She's trapped in a magical mirror. We are
You hear gasps and words erupt from the boulders around you as they hear this news.
We are seeking allies to attempt to free her and to defeat the Fomorians and their allies, the Dark Elves.
You hear more eruption of murmured voices and voices of consternation from the bluffs and cliffs around you.
But
And then Vyric holds up his hand and everything goes quiet. Go ahead, Headline.
as fearful as that sounds, that's probably not the worst. There is an outsider from our realm who is attempting to use the power he gains here to take over all realms and bring darkness, eternal darkness. His
All
name
three
is
of them.
Mumra.
When you say Mumra, all of them erupt in a loud cacophony of voices, shouts. They're all shaking their fists and making a symbol that you're in the air. You're not sure what it is. It seems to be a ward against the evil eye. That's caused a lot of consternation. Vyric holds his hand up again, this guy in the middle, and he says, "Foul words as you come here. I would know your name, warrior."
I'm Havlarn, Nimblefoot. These are my companions, Arnold, Azoth, and Ryan. We come recently from the Myconid Kingdom after we have encountered Fomorians in the forest who were torturing treants. We defeated the Fomorians and then encountered the Myconids, where we learned much of our knowledge that we have just relayed to you.
You hear more murmuring and nods of approval when you say defeated Fomorians. They're all nudging each other, and Tanefka, for her part, also nods approvingly, saying, kind of an approval to what your words are. The three elders there in the front Vyric holds his hand up for silence, and he says, "Welcome, warriors, then. An enemy of an enemy is a friend. Be seated and be welcome and partake of the peace pipe, and we will have words. You speak of vile doom upon our people and yours. Maybe we can have an accord."
That would be welcome.
This one seems to disapprove. He frowns at you as you come in. Even though he has a blindfold and can't see you, you wouldn't think he could see you, but he tracks your movements as you go. Seems to be staring straight at you through the blindfold. Vyric says, let's see, do each of you partake of the peace
Oh,
pipe?
hell yeah.
It's passed around.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Sure.
Alright. It's passed around. Each of you take a bit. You can see that the Firbolgs on the neighboring cliff walls also are passing pipes back and forth. There's much to be considered. You bring vile news. A heavy doom lays upon us all, it seems. He says, "You speak of the Myconid Kingdom. Do you perhaps come from the one named Jadamu?"
We have spoken with Jadamu, yes.
And are you of an accord with him?
We have come to an accord with him. We originally came here seeking, well, quite frankly, to end him. We were misled by a servant of Mumra.
He nods at you approvingly. Both find Myrick. Myrick seems very vigorous in his nods of approval. He looks at you and he smiles. His eyes are gleaming. He leans forward in interest to hear what you would have to say. For his part, Myrick does not approve. He crosses his arms over his chest, and through his blindfold you just can't tell what his expression is, except you can tell by body language he does not want to hear what you have to say. Myrick and Vyrick seem approving of what you say. They say, many of us were taken in by the foul creature Mumra and shown the error of our ways. He says, we have also fallen upon ill hands. We were driven from our home upon the lofty peaks, and he waves a hand at the mountain peaks above you that you can see towering over you. He says, we've been driven from our homelands, from which we seek to return. But that's neither here nor there. What can we do for you now? Tenethka has spoken highly of you. You have defeated many Fomorians, and that has gained you much respect within the clan, such as it is.
Well, our immediate goal is to find a way to free Della from the mirror in which she is trapped. I know of these mirrors and know that they are controlled by a command word. Now, according to Jadamu, the mirror was obtained by deal with the drow, with the dark elves. So, if a command word is known, I imagine that is where we can obtain it from. And according to Jadamu, we will not be able to defeat where's my notes?
Grickbar.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you. We will not be able to defeat the Fomorians until we, let's see, destroy the amulet that he wears around his neck. The only way to do that is to free Della.
There's a lot of murmuring from the cliffs around you, a lot of nods of approval. Vyrick says, it's a brave warrior that seeks to take on Grickbar. You have a strong heart for such a little form. You and your allies are all of the same goal.
Yes.
Even the swarthy bearded one, he nods at Arnold.
Well, yeah. Why would I be
He
here?
puts a hand on his knee and he says, you hesitate, my bearded friend, for bearing such a magnificent beard.
That what happens if you live under the mountain instead of on top of the mountain.
You hear laughter from among the neighboring cliff walls. They're all laughing and smacking their knees and nodding. And Vyrick says, very well. The beard is where we store our power, is it not? Stature matters little.
I stroke my own beard.
He smiles and nods at you, Havlarn. And he says, and what of this? An elf outside the keep. How did you escape?
He did not escape from the
Azoth,
keep.
is it?
He came from our world. He is an ally. I fought beside him many times.
You share a lot of words of consternation, and the three look at each other. Your world. Where do you come from?
We come from Toril.
I do not know this word. It does not matter. Your goals seem to be the same as mine. Ours. Varric says, there's not much we can do to help. Our tribe being weakened, but what is it you come for? You said you seek a command word. We do not know this command
We
word.
do not expect you to know the command word. In order to learn this, we figure we need to discuss it with some of the Dark Elves. Djamu told us about 3 sisters. suggested we try to track them down. They might be able to provide the information we seek.
When you say three sisters, you see the Firbolgs around the cliff walls looking at each other and shaking their heads as a foul expression on their faces. And Varric says, "The three sisters are no friends of ours, but it is true they have much in the way of lore. The secrets you seek and secrets they keep. But still, you do not answer the question, what can we do
At this
to help?"
time, until we have a plan, merely being allies and assuring us of your help in the future will be sufficient.
Also, if you know any directions to the three sisters, we can just take care of them on our own. That's what we do most of the time.
All three of them now have a dark look, and along the cliffs they all have dark looks, and they say, "The three sisters reside in the grotto of Dinagrin, which lies in the center of the Darklands." Being outsiders, you would not know, the Darklands are our ancient burial grounds, which we were driven away from by the forces of the Jotuns. And you hear all of them shout in dismay, and some of them gnash their teeth and pull their hair. The word Jotun. They say, "You will have our aid in whatever your endeavors are. If you could face the Jotuns and survive. I wouldn't expect so much, though. For now, seeking the three sisters is probably enough of a challenge." And he gives you a little smirk. He says, "There are some ways north of us, a mile or more, in the peaks above us, our original homeland, which we were driven from." He says, "However, Tanethka's word only takes you so far. We will pledge our assistance only if you ask. A task of strength and cunning to prove that you are worthy of the Firbolg clan, the Tiger Claw clan."
Name your task. We will accomplish it.
He smiled, Varric smiles, and he says, "It would seem difficult, but at the same time obvious." And he waves a hand to the north at the 60-foot waterfall above. And he says, "Bring me a boulder from the top of the falls, no smaller than the size of your own head. You may work together, as tribe and companionship is one of the tenets of our ways. Perform this task, and we will pledge our assistance."
A boulder the size of my head?
Each of you must return with a boulder the size of your head. And he holds a finger up and says, "If you are to perform as a team, if you are to operate as a single unit, you will be able to perform this task using teamwork. Another tenet of our clan. This is the test of stone." And all of the all of the Firbolgs on the neighboring cliffs nod and murmur to each other, "Yes, the test of stone. That is a good test. This is a test that all Firbolgs must undergo upon coming of age." And Myrick leans forward with keen eyes to see that you perform this task well. You could tell he probably just completed it himself.
Well, assuming we can use all of our abilities, we have no problem here.
Varric crosses his arms on his chest and says, "It is a test of both strength and cunning. Although we will allow any of your resources to your disposal, please keep in mind that those resources may not always be at your disposal. One should rely on his own strength first." Sits back and enjoys the show. All of them move aside and sit cross-legged to look towards the waterfall to watch you guys' performance.